Well, I'm very excited to be on the phone with you. We'll go ahead and get started.
Okay.
My first question for you is I wanted to know how you came up with the storyline or backline to your characters.
We're talking about the Crossfire series, right?
Yes, the Crossfire series.
In that case, I started with a historical novel of mine, 7 Years to Sin, which I wrote back. It was published back in 2011. But that story followed a couple who come into the relationship with some trauma from their childhood. And as I went through the book, I got 3/4 of the way through it, and I realized, I don't have enough room to really do justice to two people who are coming into a relationship with that much baggage. And so, I really wanted to do it over. I wanted to try, give it more room to breathe. So when people read both novels, if they read, Bared to You and then they read 7 Years to Sin, there's a lot of similarities. You'll see that the characters are very similar in appearance and in demeanor. And of course that's because, I was still dealing with Jessica and Alistair's relationship when I started Crossfire.
Yes. Oh, I love the Crossfire series. It's
thank you.
A great series.
So glad to hear that.
Want to say that. Yes, and a lot of our fans love it too. So, my next question for you is: did the whole 50 Shades phenomenon obsession make you more confident about the release or the success of the Crossfire series?
No, because you have to. It's kind of hard to realize that it's been like such a short period of time, but. Bared to You released on April 3rd, which is the same day that Random House reissued 50 Shades. So at the time I was writing the book and getting ready to publish it, it was out for review in the first part of March where, we hadn't even heard of 50 Shades yet as, there wasn't any national media attention for it. So I didn't feel like really there was a precedent for a hero that was really as dark as Gideon was, and that's one of the reasons why I self-published it, because I was going, if I try to shop this to any of my editors, are they going to say that there's, Gideon's not heroic or he's not your typical romance hero?
Yes.
And would they want me to change those aspects of him? And I wasn't willing to do that. So, really when I released the book, I was kind of sitting there going, I wonder if it'll even find an audience. I wonder if it even has an audience.
Oh, it has a big audience.
Yeah,
it really does. It does. And how do you feel about having one of the biggest selling series in the world?
Really, I can rattle off numbers, like I'll do an interview and I'll be like, we're at over 10 million copies in 39 countries. And, I can say that, but with the actual time that I spend sitting down and absorbing that is very small, because I think if I actually sat down and thought about it too hard, it might paralyze me in a way.
I bet.
That's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of readers.
There is a lot of readers, and they love it. Their feedback is amazing. So, out of not being the author in the blogger world, you definitely have a great following. I really, really believe that for you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well,
you're welcome. My next question is: can you tell us more about the 2-book deal with Cosmopolitan and Harley Quinn that will be launching the Cosmo Red Hot Reads ebook series later this year?
Right. The first book, Afterburn, comes out August 15th. It's a groundbreaking collaboration. We've never done this before. We have a magazine publisher and a traditional publisher and an author, working in a 3-way collaboration to release books that are, contemporary modern women facing, contemporary modern issues and hoping to find love along the way. So, the phone rang in my agent's office and it was Harlequin, and they said, we really want Sylvia to do this, would she be interested? And I started publishing ebooks back in 2005, so I'm always ready to try the next thing. What's next?
Yeah.
How can we engage readers in new ways? And so I was, I'm like, that what a great idea, the Afterburn and Aftershock, it's actually following one couple. We have Gianna and Jackson, who had a relationship previously and it didn't work. And over the course of doing business, they run into each other again. and they're kind of on opposite sides of the board table, and yet they both want to be on the same side when it comes to the bedroom. So,
Wow.
it's readers
Yeah.
will see a
Ooh.
lot. Readers will see a lot that's familiar to them because the Crossfire series is set in contemporary New York, and so is the Afterburn series. It's told in Gianna's perspective, so in some ways it'll feel familiar, but it's definitely its very own story, very own characters, and so it was fun. It was fun to kind of step outside of Crossfire for a few weeks and write something new.
Oh wow, that sounds really good. I'm very excited to see more from you. I know a lot of the fans are going to be as well.
Oh, thank you.
Is that what's going to be next for you? Is that what's next? What's next in your list of tricks?
Well, that's the next release that I have. I mean that we're already along the way with that story. So we've got excerpts that are coming out in Cosmo as of the August issue, and we've released some sampler booklets that have the first couple chapters in it. So I mean, of course, by the time any project reaches a reader, it's a few months behind when the author finished it. So I'm moving along into Crossfire book 4. I'm good way through that.
On Goodreads.
Yeah.
Everybody was very excited to see that on the list on Goodreads, and we saw number 5. So we all have our fingers crossed for more from the series and more from you.
Well, and with the case, Crossfire is now a quintet, so we have the 5 books, and the first 2.5 books really we're dealing with all of Ava's issues, and by the time we get midway through Entwined with You, she's really kind of addressed the things that were outstanding in her life. And it makes sense, and it's fair that if we have 2.5 books on Ava, that we have 2.5 books on Gideon, which I mean
it's definitely fair. It is. Well, thanks for taking your time out today to talk with us. I know the fans will be excited to hear what's coming up, for you new in the future here.
Oh, well, thanks for having me.